There's a known law, Moore's Law, that states that over every 2 years the speed of processors will double. This means that, over time, computers will be faster and faster and faster and faster until eventually we reach a singularity of processing power. However, this allows programmers to be lazier by picking more humanly intelligible programming languages and, as a result, producing slower programs. Some of you may know that programming languages aren't all the same. This is because different languages serve different needs. For example, Java, the Minecraft one, is portable. You don't need to make a version for Windows or Linux, but rather the Java program is portable. This is thanks to the Java runtime environment, which doesn't compile the code into a binary, but rather the Java runtime environment interprets the code to the computer, essentially compiling and executing it in real time. While this example can save time when compiling the program for different operating systems and development, it sacrifices speed. This is a great example of what I'm talking about. You may have heard of the language Python. Originating in the late 1980s, Python eventually picked up speed but grew more popular, being more popular than C, as seen on Google Trends in June of 2013. As of 2021, the IEEE reports that Python is the most common programming language. The reason? Well, like Java, it's portable. This means that both running the program and compiling the program need to be done at the same time, which results in overall worse performance, however, has the benefits as stated before. Another thing that affects performance is its human legibility and quality of life features. For example, you can define A as both an integer and a string in Python. Python can reallocate the memory from an integer to a string and vice versa. Overall, in the computer language benchmark game, Python rates the second worst on running a 1600 unit squared Mandelbrot. This is the great paradox of modern computing. As computers get faster, programs get slower. Programs aren't just getting more complex and overall require more resources because it has more features, particularly useful ones. Rather, they're being coded with inefficient programming languages that make the programmer's job easier. That and bloatware to increase revenue and all that jazz, but that's a whole other issue in itself. One thing that I find interesting is how similar this is to language and the dichotomy between simple languages and sophisticated languages. Sophisticated language usually comes from using specific words, providing a detailed description that balances with brevity. Simple language is born from being quick and lacking detail. In sophisticated language, the speaker must take the brunt of the mental effort to express his idea in a way that's intuitive and descriptive. In simple language, the speaker just says something relying on what it implies. It's similar to how these less humanly intelligible programming languages, such as C, find themselves in a similar place to sophisticated language. It may be a pain to do, but in the end, your listeners will much prefer hearing sophisticated dialectic in contrast to simple words, which is why I'm a firm believer that lower-level programming languages that are less humanly intelligible like C should be preferred to Python in most situations.